Now, over the course of the conference, we're exploring the theme Resilience Realities, Supply Chains in a World of Disruption, and how the risk landscape continues to evolve. But what happens when the threat comes from within? Our next session looks at a real-world cargo theft incident at Frankfurt Airport, where insider cases since November 2024 led to losses exceeding €2 million and triggered a coordinated cross-industry response. To tell us more about that response, please join me in welcoming Stephan Gonter, VP Operations Corporate Security, and Thorge Rink, Senior Expert Operations Corporate Security at Fraport. Stephan, I believe you're going to start us off. Over to you both. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning, everyone. Before we begin, let me say that it's a privilege to be here today and to speak to such an experienced audience of logistics and security professionals. And I also want to thank Thorsten for inviting us to hold this presentation here today. And I know that some of the people we have worked on together on this issue are here in the room today also, and I'm very delighted about that. Today, our presentation is about a topic that is highly relevant to all of us here in this room. And we will talk about it with a high degree of transparency and openness. The reason for this is simple. We believe that by sharing experiences openly and sharing lessons learned and challenges, this benefits the entire TAPA community. By discussing what happened, how we responded, and what we learned along the way, we hope that others can take away valuable lessons to apply them within their own organizations. If our experience helps even one company avoid a similar situation or respond more effectively, then this will have been worthwhile. With that, let's get started. Let me give you a quick overview of what we'll be covering today. We've divided our presentation into two main parts. Part one is about setting the scene. We'll start by looking at Frankfurt Airport's pivotal role as Europe's leading air cargo hub. Then we'll outline the structure and responsibilities within our cargo ecosystem before moving on to the significant theft series that brought these issues to the forefront. Finally, we'll discuss how we took ownership and acknowledged the crisis. Part two focuses on our responses and the lessons we learned. We'll explain how we brought the community together, detail the workshops, investigations, and immediate actions that we took, and then walk you through the weaknesses we identified and the countermeasures we implemented. We'll conclude with our next steps and share why we decided to join TAPA. With that roadmap in mind, we begin with part one. Let's begin by looking at Frankfurt Airport's role in the world of air cargo. Operated by Fraport, Frankfurt Airport is not just a gateway for passengers, as many of you may know it, but it's truly a backbone of European air freight. With around 250 logistics companies permanently based at the airport, Frankfurt is a true powerhouse in European air cargo. In fact, the airport currently ranks as Europe's #1 air cargo hub with a volume of more than 2 million tons handled. It's very close with Istanbul, but last year we came on first. Even with our 6-hour night flight curfew, cargo operations run 24/7 in the warehouses and in ground handling. The scale and the complexity of these processes are immense. Such a dynamic environment brings together hundreds of organizations and thousands of employees each day, everyone playing a crucial role and operating simultaneously on the apron. This makes cargo security a shared responsibility, one that requires constant coordination and vigilance. To truly understand the challenge of air cargo security, it's important to recognize the complexity of the cargo ecosystem at our airport. Let me break down the key roles. Fraport, as airport operator, is responsible for the overall infrastructure. This includes critical functions such as CCTV in common use areas, managing access to the apron, and setting the regulatory framework for all airside operations. Ground handling agents are selected by the airline customers and they manage the physical movement of the cargo on the apron. Their responsibilities cover tug vehicle operations, loading and unloading of the aircraft, driver authentication, and ensuring that the movements of the cargo are traceable. Freight forwarders, as you surely all know, organize end-to-end processes for their customers. They are responsible for maintaining proper handover documentations and ensuring secure interfaces. Airlines and warehouses operate secure storage facilities and manage shipments acceptance processes. They are critical partners in ensuring that import cargo is moved quickly, reducing dwell time and minimizing the risk of theft. In short, cargo security at Frankfurt Airport requires ongoing collaboration and clear accountability across a very complex network of stakeholders. Let's move on to the problem that we faced. As Sam already mentioned in her introduction, beginning in November 2024, we were confronted with a significant series of cargo theft incidents. In total, there were 7 incidents reported by August 2025, when the series ended, resulting in confirmed losses of over 2 million euros. The focus of this incidents was on import cargo from Asia. These incidents that all happened on our apron had a profound impact, not only because of the financial losses it involved, but also because of the damage it caused to the customer confidence and our reputation. While the number of incidents was limited relative to the overall cargo volume handled at our airport, even a single theft is too many when customer trust really is at stake. Affected customers and also the TAPA EMEA board escalated the issue directly to the Fraport executive board, raising the visibility and the strategic importance of the issue. Freight forwarders and shippers began to question the reliability of Frankfurt's cargo chain, and we recognized that this posed a serious risk to customer confidence and ultimately to our competitive position as Europe's leading cargo hub. Investigations revealed that the perpetrators had to be employees of companies operating at the airport, making this a classic insider threat scenario. And it underscored just how critical it is to address not only external risks, but also those that can arise from within our own ecosystems. Operationally, these thefts revealed systematic gaps within cargo handling processes, vulnerabilities that had previously gone unaddressed and now needed urgent and cross-functional solutions. Ultimately, this was a wake-up call that we could not ignore, and it demanded a coordinated and decisive response from everyone involved. When the theft series ended, Fraport made a deliberate and important decision. Instead of deflecting responsibility to ground handlers or other third parties, we stepped forward as the hub operator to lead the response. This was not only the right thing, but also strategically necessary to preserve trust in our ecosystem. From a customer perspective, it wasn't relevant that our direct involvement in the cargo handling process is limited. This happened on our home turf, and that's where we got associated with the issue, obviously. The first step was transparent communication. We proactively informed all affected stakeholders, including TAPA board members, airlines, shippers, freight forwarders, and relevant authorities, rather than waiting for the situation just to escalate further. This openness eventually helped us regain credibility and foster a collaborative approach to solving the problem. To be honest, and I was in many meetings where angry people were with me in the room, it wasn't an easy process, but it paid off in the end. We also benefited from a very strong relationship and partnership with the airport police. They had established a dedicated task force focused on cargo theft, with which we cooperated closely. Our knowledge about stakeholders and processes, together with their resources and attention, this significantly improved both the investigation effort and our ability to prevent further incidents. Secondly, there was executive-level commitment. As customer complaints reached our board level, Fraport's senior leadership recognized the urgency of the matter and committed significant resources to address it. This included cross-departmental coordination with a clear focus on tackling the root causes and not just the symptoms. Finally, we brought in external expertise. By engaging an independent consulting firm, we ensured that our security assessment was thorough, unbiased, and supported by best practices from outside our organization. By taking ownership in this way, we not only addressed the immediate crisis, but also reinforced a culture of shared responsibility and accountability across the cargo community. With that, I would like to hand over to Thorge, who will walk you through how we responded and what we learned along the way.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Stephan, and hello as well from my side. So, as you've just heard, taking ownership and acknowledging the crisis was a fundamental starting point. But acknowledging a crisis is one thing, managing it effectively is another. So, the real challenge begins once initial shock has passed and the organization needs to move from reaction to structured response. In the next part of our presentation, I will share how we approached that challenge, the measures we implemented, the obstacles we encountered, and the lessons that emerged from the experience. So looking back today, some of those lessons confirmed what we already believed. Others challenged our assumptions and fundamentally changed the way we think about crisis management and resilience. So let me start with our immediate response. Addressing a crisis of this magnitude required a truly collective response. We recognized early on that no single actor could tackle the challenge of cargo theft in isolation. That's why we brought together the broader air cargo community, uniting ground handlers, freight forwarders, airlines, shippers, law enforcement, and security experts under one roof. Our approach was deliberately inclusive, structured, and sustained. We organized joint workshops and multi-stakeholder sessions with specialists from the airport police and criminal police departments. These sessions allowed us to share expertise, identify vulnerabilities, and develop coordinated strategies. To maintain momentum and ensure alignment, we established regular status calls. These ongoing check-ins enabled all affected parties to track the implementation of measures in real time and to share emerging intelligence as the situation evolved. We also conducted site visits, comprehensive on-the-ground assessments of apron operations. This includes close surveillance of blind spots and a detailed review of potential vulnerabilities at handover interfaces. By fostering an environment of collaboration and continuous information exchange, we were able to mount a unified and effective response to a shared challenge. After establishing a unified response, our next step was to systematically analyze where our vulnerabilities truly lay. We knew that a detailed understanding of the weaknesses was essential for developing effective countermeasures. To do this, we adopted a range of creative and analytical methods. One of the key approaches was silent brainstorming and red teaming. These techniques allowed us to step into the shoes of potential offenders and identify exploitable weaknesses from their perspective, challenging our assumptions and surfacing blind spots we might otherwise have missed. In parallel, we conducted a detailed process analysis using swim lane process mapping. This visual method enabled us to break down the entire cargo handling process, pinpointing critical risks and bottlenecks at each stage. Finally, we introduced a structured group format called the Security Forge. This initiative brought together cross-company teams, encouraging collaboration across organizational boundaries. In these sessions, participants worked side by side to co-develop targeted countermeasures, combining insights from different parts of the cargo chain. Through the systematic and inclusive approach, we were able to map our weaknesses comprehensively and lay the groundwork for effective, jointly developed solutions. Through our systematic analysis, we identified 3 critical vulnerability areas within the cargo handling process. The first area was a lack of supervision and control. Here we found that gaps in oversight were actively being exploited. Insufficient video surveillance coverage and limited retention periods created opportunities for unauthorized activities to go undetected. Additionally, interim cargo storage often occurred in areas that were difficult to monitor, further increasing the risk. Secondly, we uncovered significant documentation and interface deficiencies. In many cases, IT systems did not sufficiently log driving orders or vehicle assignments, and paper-based processes persisted at critical cargo handover points. There was also a lack of standardized handover documentation and no system for end-to-end tracking, leaving room for process breakdowns and manipulation. The third area of concern was insider risk and personal assignment. We discovered unclear vehicle allocation procedures, which allowed for the unauthorized use of towing vehicles. Untimely or unplanned transports were also exploited, and we even found evidence of cross-company perpetrator cooperation and off-duty reconnaissance activities. For over 2 decades, aviation security has primarily focused on preventing unauthorized access and the introduction of prohibited items. But however, this evolving threat required a broader and more adaptive security mindset. We focused on transparent communication with all key stakeholders, including airlines, freight forwarders, and regulatory authorities, taking a proactive stance rather than waiting for further escalation. Our executive leadership committed significant resources and coordinated efforts across departments to address the root causes and not just the symptoms. Finally, we brought in external expertise to provide an independent security assessment and to support our investigation and workshops. By openly acknowledging these vulnerabilities and taking responsibility as a community, we laid the foundation for a more resilient and secure cargo environment. Based on the vulnerabilities we identified, we moved quickly to implement a series of procedural measures. Some already in place, others still under review to strengthen our cargo security. The first area focused on surveillance and detection. We significantly expanded preventive patrols throughout the cargo handling zones and invested in broader CCTV coverage. This not only increased our ability to detect suspicious activities in real time, but also acted as a strong deterrent. Secondly, we enhanced exit and access controls. This included introducing more frequent random inspections and improving traceability throughout the cargo chain. Additionally, we introduced stricter driver identification procedures to better verify the identity of individuals involved in the cargo transport. The third focus area was process improvement and digitalization. We strengthened initiatives to digitalize the end-to-end cargo handling process in order to reduce manual errors and close documentation gaps. In addition, we implemented measures to facilitate faster transport for import cargo, reducing the time freight spends in vulnerable transitional areas. Alongside these operational improvements, we launched a targeted awareness campaign. Cargo security concerns us all. #KeepingCargoSafe. This campaign engaged all stakeholder groups and reinforced the message that security is a shared responsibility at our hub. Together, these measures form a robust, multi-layered approach to safeguarding our cargo operations, while fostering a culture where everyone understands their role in keeping cargo safe. To ensure a lasting success, it was crucial to keep the entire community aligned. not just in the immediate aftermath, but throughout the ongoing process of strengthening cargo security. We approach this challenge through 6 interconnected elements like pieces of a puzzle that together form a complete picture. First, we established regular cross-industry exchanges. These structured forums allowed us to share updates, escalate emerging risks, and ensure that everyone remained informed and engaged. Second, we leveraged our TAPA membership. This connection enabled us to tap into a global network of security intelligence and best practices, keeping us at the forefront of industry developments. Third, we implement a systematic incident recording. By logging every cargo security incident, we build a robust evidence base to support data-driven, informed decision-making. Fourth, we closely track the implementation status of all our countermeasures. This allowed us to monitor progress, identify bottlenecks, and ensure that no action point was overlooked. Fifth, we conducted regular effectiveness reviews. These assessments helped us evaluate not only whether measures were in place, but also whether they were truly working as intended. And finally, we fostered an awareness culture, embedding security as a shared value across the entire cargo community. This cultural shift ensures that security is not seen as a one-time project, but as an ongoing and collective responsibility. By connecting these 6 areas, we created a sustainable framework for communication and follow-through, keeping our community united and resilient in the face of evolving threats. So let me take a moment to explain why Fraport decided to join TAPA and what it means for all of us within the cargo security community. First, the intelligence sharing. By becoming a TAPA member, we now have access to TAPA's global incident database. This resource allows us to benchmark Frankfurt's threat landscape against other major hubs worldwide and learn from incidents and trends observed across the industry. It gives us a much broader perspective on risks and potential solutions. Second, TAPA's security standards. TAPA's facility security requirements and trucking security requirements provide a structured, industry-recognized framework that is widely regarded as a good practice within the cargo and logistics sector. These standards offer valuable guidance and reference points for strengthening security measures and supporting continuous improvement across the cargo community. And third, community and credibility. Our TAPA membership is a clear signal to our customers, regulators, and industry partners that we are committed to the highest standards of cargo security. Especially after the incidents of 2024 and 2025, this commitment is essential for rebuilding trust and demonstrating that we are taking proactive, transparent steps to protect the integrity of our operations. Ultimately, joining TAPA is not just about compliance. It's about strengthening our community, learning from global best practices, and ensuring that security is at the heart of everything we do. And as we now come to the end of our presentation, I would like to leave you with some key takeaways of our experience in Frankfurt. So first and foremost, high accountability. It's essential to own the problem, meaning the hub operator must step forward and lead the response. But leadership alone isn't enough. Engaging the entire community and embracing shared responsibility is critical to creating lasting change. Second, focus on systems and processes. Broad participation across all stakeholders is necessary, not just to address the immediate symptoms, but to tackle the root causes. This means fixing underlying process weaknesses and making sure that everyone involved understands their role. Sustaining the effort is equally important. Continuous communication and regular follow-ups help ensure that progress is maintained and new challenges are identified early. And finally, long-term commitment is key. Building resilience and trust in the cargo community is not a one-off project, but an ongoing journey that requires dedication from all of us. By combining accountability, community engagement, process improvement, and long-term commitment, We believe we've laid the foundation for a safer, more resilient cargo environment, not just for Frankfurt, but as a model for other hubs as well. So this brings us to the end of our presentation. If you have any further questions or would like to discuss any of those topics in more detail, please do not hesitate to reach out to Stephan or me. We are both available by email and welcome your feedback, insights, or specific queries. So thank you so much for your attention, and we look forward to continuing the conversation with you. And with that, back to you, Sam. Thank you so much.
Stephan and Thorge, thank you both so much. We've had loads of questions in, actually, which we definitely can't get to. So what we'd like to propose is that maybe we can have you on a special TAPA Talks podcast or cover something in the magazine, and we can answer more of those questions then. And I know you'll all be listening eagerly to that. But let me just whip through a couple very quickly. How effective are the measures, Stephan, that you've implemented, and do you have any data?
Yes, Sam. I think what is most important for us, after all, and the most important data is that crime is actually down, especially on the apron, where it's our responsibility. And what's also important for us is that we are monitoring the progress closely and continuously, because as Thorge said in his final remarks, this is really a long-term commitment, and I see we will see it in the data over the long term, because I would be lying to all of you if I told you this was like, oh, this was the first time that something ever happened over the last 30 years at Frankfurt Airport. Certainly, this has been coming and going, as has been at some other hubs. And I think what the commitment on our side really is, that we want to keep track of this in the long term.
And could incidents of this nature then happen again?
I would never guarantee 0 incidents, because especially we had to deal here with insider threats, and being human nature what it is sometimes. I would not guarantee that nothing would ever happen again. But what I can ensure and what I would guarantee is that we did a lot to ensure more resilient processes and better controls. And I'm especially delighted with the deterring effect of the added CCTV, that's also very visible, and that certainly makes one think twice before committing crimes like that.
Thank you. And just finally, Thorge, were there obstacles to implementing the planned measures?
Yes, for sure. There were obstacles. So many measures take time and money, and often several people are involved in the whole processes. So, of course, we would prefer to implement all the countermeasures immediately, but this is not always realistic. So the measures have to be planned carefully and introduced step by step to lay a ground foundation for an effective countermeasure.
Brilliant. Well, thank you both so much for that really interesting presentation and those questions. Thank you.
Thank you.